The silent room in my house keeps making me visit. By Twitch Trentum. I've always been a man of routine. Every morning, I brew a pot of coffee, walk the creaky floors of my old farmhouse, and sit by the window overlooking the woods. The house has been too quiet since Alice passed. She was the love of my life, and now it's just me here, rattling around in these empty rooms. Lately, though, things haven't felt right. This morning, as I sat by the window with my coffee, something about the woods unsettled me. The trees looked different, too close, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal hands. And I saw movement out there, shadows slipping between the trunks. I told myself it was just wildlife, maybe deer or foxes, but the shapes were too tall, too human. I shook it off. I've been lonely, after all. Maybe my mind is playing tricks on me. The noises started about a week ago. At night, when the house should have been still, I heard footsteps upstairs. They were soft, but deliberate, pacing back and forth. I didn't panic. The house is old, and old houses make noise. But when I finally went upstairs to check, I found something I couldn't explain. The door to the guest room was open. I always keep it locked. I stepped inside and froze. The room looked just as I remembered it. The bed neatly made, the rocking chair in the corner, Alice's old books stacked on the nightstand. But something about the air felt wrong. Heavy, like the room itself was holding its breath. I backed out, shut the door, and locked it again. The sounds didn't stop. They only got worse. Footsteps turned into heavy thuds. The whispers started next, low and guttural, coming from the walls. And then the objects began appearing. I found Alice's favorite scarf draped over the chair in the living room. A photograph of our wedding, its glass cracked, lying on the kitchen counter. I don't remember moving these things, but who else could have? I called my son, David, to tell him what was happening. He listened, but I could hear the patience in his voice, the way he was humoring me. "You're just lonely, Dad," he said. "Maybe it's time to move closer to us. This is my home. I'm not leaving." Last night, I woke up to the sound of the guest room door slamming shut. My heart thundered in my chest as I grabbed the flashlight from my bedside table and crept upstairs. The door was wide open. Inside, the rocking chair was moving on its own, its wood creaking under an invisible weight. Alice's books were scattered across the floor, their pages torn and fluttering as if caught in a breeze. And then I saw her. Alice. She stood in the corner, her back to me, utterly still. Her silver hair hung in stringy clumps. "Alice?" I whispered, my voice shaking. She turned slowly, and I wished she hadn't. Her face was pale, her eyes black voids that seemed to pull me in. Her mouth moved, but the words were drowned out by a deafening roar that filled the room. I stumbled back, dropping my flashlight, and when I looked again, the room was empty. I tried to stay away from the guest room after that, but it felt like the house wouldn't let me. The noises, the whispers, the slamming doors, they all drew me back. Tonight, I couldn't resist. I stood in the doorway, staring into the room. It was bare now. No bed, no rocking chair. The walls were scrawled with messages in a trembling hand. "Where am I? Help me. Why did you forget?" The words filled every inch of the walls, overlapping and chaotic. In the center of the room was a mirror. I stepped closer and looked into it. I didn't see myself. I saw Alice. She was screaming, her hands pressed against the glass. Her mouth formed the same word over and over. Remember. And the memories hit me all at once. Alice, frail and sick, lying in a hospital bed. Her voice begging me to stay with her. The beeping machines. The moment she slipped away. I remembered her funeral. The empty house. Sitting in the guest room night after night, unable to let her go. And then I remembered forgetting. I forgot Alice. I forgot the love of my life. This morning, David came by. I don't remember calling him, but he's here now, walking through the house, calling my name. He found me in the guest room, sitting in the corner. The walls are blank now, the mirror cracked and dusty. "Dad," he said softly, kneeling beside me. "What happened?" "She's still here," I whispered. Tears streamed down my face. "I see her. She's angry because I forgot her." David's face twisted with grief. "Dad," he said gently, "Mom's been gone for years. You're just confused." But he doesn't understand. She's not gone. She's in the walls, the floors, the very bones of this house. David took my hand and helped me to my feet. "Come on, Dad. Let's get you some help." As we left the house, I glanced back at the guest room. The door was open, and inside, the rocking chair moved ever so slightly, creaking in the silence. Thank you guys for listening to this story. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll link it in the description below if you want to check it out for yourself. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe and come back next week. I look forward to seeing you all, but until then, goodbye.